losing our people-pleasing skill set and creating boundaries for ourselves. This video is going to be about our boundaries and how to create them. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers. If you are new to the channel, this channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder, to give you more understanding of the people you might have been dealing with throughout your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to recover from narcissistic abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. So when it comes to boundaries, narcissistic people are extremely good at taking down people's boundaries. You can have had quite strong beliefs, values, opinions, and quite strong boundaries before you got involved with a narcissistic partner. And they will find a way through love bombing, idealization, gaslighting, blame shifting, projection to get you to doubt who you are as a person and take down your boundaries. There is no better way to spot a narcissist than to say no to one. They do not understand other people's boundaries. When you say no to a narcissist, they go through lots of different passive aggressive and aggressive behaviours to get their needs met, from the silent treatments, the sulks, the word salad, the rages. They often throw almighty tantrums to get their needs met. If you were raised with narcissistic parents, you might have been raised with the skill set of being a people pleaser. If you weren't raised with narcissistic parents, but you've had some form of narcissist within your life, you will have often fawned to their behaviour and become one that walks on eggshells around them, fearing saying no out of the narcissist's reactions towards you. Narcissists can intimidate in a way that you don't even know some of them are intimidating you. Narcissists don't see us for who we are. Narcissists create a picture of an ideal within their mind, and as soon as we go against their ideal, they seek to punish us in some way. And yes, we also don't always recognise a narcissist for who they are. The difference being they sell us an illusion. They sell us a false belief through their mirroring and through their love bombing and through their intermittent reinforcement of idealization, through their future faking. They sell us a false belief of who they are. They often mirror who we are and sell our dreams back to us to keep us trapped in that place of false hope that they will be the person they claimed themselves to be. We are often ourselves. Yes, most people do try to sell the best side of themselves when they first meet people, but we are often ourselves to them. They learn about us and they pick us apart bit by bit. And if you do like to make other people happy, you often do all you can to please that other person. Some examples that you might be a people pleaser are: 1, you just don't like seeing other people unhappy. And many people with empathy do not like upsetting other people. They don't like seeing other people unhappy. It's easy for a narcissist to say no to somebody because they lack the empathy to care when another person is unhappy. Apologising often for things that you may not have even done. Always saying sorry because you feel bad for another person. With a narcissist, they don't feel bad for another person. Even if the narcissist caused that pain within another person, they still believe the other person is at fault. Pretending to agree when you don't agree. Yes, narcissistic people can do this in the beginning because they want to hook you in. You often do this because you don't want to upset anybody. And struggling to say no. Narcissistic people find it very easy to say no if it doesn't suit them. Those who have been on the receiving end of narcissistic abuse often find it very difficult to say no, because at some point they've gone into the fawn survival mechanism and have begun walking on eggshells to please others in order to... A narcissist will withhold any sort of affection unless you do as they please. So it's difficult saying no when you are trained that if you say no, you're not going to be liked or you're going to be punished in some way. So we're almost trained up around them to say yes, not realizing that that yes is keeping us trapped in a place we don't need to be. Creating healthy boundaries will not change the narcissist. Our aim of the game isn't to change anyone other than ourselves so that we can live our best life. Creating healthy boundaries will not change who they are as a person. They will carry on being themselves, and we have to respect them for who they are, but we don't have to put up with them for who they are. There is a difference between respecting somebody for who they are and putting up with somebody for who they are. Setting healthy boundaries doesn't make any one person right, and it doesn't make any other person wrong, although abusive people are... abuse is abuse, and that is just wrong. But setting healthy boundaries isn't to make one person right and one person wrong. It isn't to make somebody agree with you. And it does not make you wrong if somebody doesn't agree with you. You should never, ever have to be unfaithful to who you are as a person in order to please or to be liked by somebody else. The more we lose our boundaries and become unfaithful to who we are as a person, the more that person will be unfaithful to us. There is no wrong with healthy boundaries. You are not doing it to hurt or upset another. You are doing it to be true to who you are as a person. Yes, we can all recognise and we can all be respectful and be careful of other people's feelings. However, those who are committed to using your feelings against you are not the people you need to be worried about upsetting their feelings, because they are not interested if they upset yours. Just as other people are entitled to be themselves, you are entitled to be yourself. So when it comes to creating those healthy boundaries, and with other people that aren't seeking to exploit you, that aren't seeking to hurt you, will be willing to understand you as you'd be willing to understand them. Those who aren't willing to understand you, those who are willing to try to overstep the mark. So you draw that line in that sand and they come at you and step straight over that line. So you redraw that line and they come at you and step over that line. So you redraw that line and they come at you and step over that line. That person does not respect who you are as a person. Yes, we can all say no to something, and someone might think they've got our best interests at heart, so they might encourage us in some way. But at some point they would realise and respect that's who we are as a person, as we would them. Often if you ask someone and someone said no, you wouldn't take offence to it. You just think, oh well, yeah, fair enough, I'll ask somebody else. Or you might not dare ask people because you were trained up by your narcissistic parents not to ask people. But boundaries aren't to offend people. Boundaries are to define who people are. So also observing other people's boundaries to try and recognise who they are as a person. When it comes to creating your boundaries, in order to be able to stick to your boundaries, because when you are creating them, when you are saying no, you need to stick to that no so that people learn who you are as a person if they are willing to. So when it comes to creating boundaries, you need to know your why. You need to have an understanding within yourself as to why you are saying no. Sometimes you might need to say to somebody, I need to think about that, because if you say yes and later down the line you wish you'd said no, you're the one that's going to have the resentment. If you say no and then later down the line you think, oh, actually I could do that, what did I say no for? Yes, actually I can. People are then going to understand that, well, you said no, but then you said yes. So we need to have a reason why, and sometimes we might not know that reason in an instant. So it's okay to say to someone, oh, I just need to think about that, and then get back to them with a yes or no. So in order to learn your reason why, you need to learn what you believe in, what you trust in, without proof, without evidence. What are you willing to take on as a belief that is true to you, that you trust in? Learning to hold on to those beliefs and being able to, or willing to, listen to someone else's beliefs, listen to someone else's opinions or perspectives, and trying to work it out. But if it doesn't suit your own, holding on to your own. We are allowed to change our beliefs. We are allowed to hear new information from somebody and think, oh, actually, maybe I was wrong on that one. Maybe I need to adapt that a little bit. We are allowed to change our opinions. We are allowed to change our beliefs. We are allowed to make mistakes. We are learning on the go. There is no written handbook that is perfect for everybody. We are all individuals. But at some point you have to hold on to who you are as a person so you don't lose yourself to another person. So in order to know your why, one of the things where you can start, one area where you can start learning your why, is learning what your personal values are, and then not letting people cross those personal values. So things like your reliability, your loyalty, your commitment, your honesty, your open-mindedness, your dependability, your compassion, your motivation, your responsibility, your kindness, your respect, and your authenticity. Who do you want to be as a person? Just ask, who am I? What things do I enjoy? What do I believe is right? What do I believe is wrong? Loyalty, how would I treat another person? That is how I will allow somebody to treat me. If I wouldn't treat somebody in that way, I'm no longer going to allow them to treat me in that way. What is my right from wrong? Can I respect that person's opinion and still work with that person? Or is that person coming across a little bit hypocritical, where it's one rule for them and another rule for me? And yes, we can all be hypocritical, or most of us can be hypocritical. So sometimes, yes, you do, or you can give people a chance, and then you have to recognise that that is then a flag. You have given them a chance. If they then take advantage of that chance, they are then willing to take advantage of you, and you should not need to give someone a second chance, as if somebody came and explained how you'd hurt them in some way, you wouldn't do it again. Therefore, if that person is willing to do it to you again, that person lacks the empathy to care for your thoughts, feelings, or opinions. So when we know our why, with most people, we can communicate our why. And the best approach to communicate our why, which is often quite difficult when we are people pleasers and walking on eggshells. We can fear explaining our why, we can stumble on our words, we can over explain, and it takes practice, it takes time. But we do need to learn to try and explain our why as simply as possible, especially around narcissistic people, because when we go the long route round explaining our why, they will pick bits apart to use against us, to guilt trip us into saying yes when we should have said no. And then explain once and once only. Those who are willing to use your explanations against you is the perfect reason why you needed to say no to that person. If you wouldn't use someone's explanations against them, don't allow other people to use your explanations about you. It is who you are as a person. It is saying more about that person that is trying to bring you down to get their needs met than it ever will you. Stand in your truth, stand in your reality, stand with your beliefs and your values. We are individuals. We don't have to agree with everybody. We don't have to be liked by everybody. We have to be liked by ourselves, and that in itself is a learning curve. It is a learning process, especially when you've been devalued throughout your entire life, or throughout your adult life, or just throughout your childhood. When you have been put down and criticised and judged, their thoughts are in your subconscious, constantly playing away at you, and we have to throw those thoughts back out to find our own, to love ourselves for who we are as a person. In some way, we do have to reparent ourselves at some times in life. We have to be the ones that are there for us, for who we are as a person. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to step away from your own situation and class it as somebody happening to somebody you care about. How would you treat that person that you care about? And start treating yourself that way. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is for your sanity. So after you've known your why, after you've communicated, after you've explained it once, there then needs to be consequences. Whether that is consequences that you have explained to someone, depending on the situation, or consequences within your own mind, that if they do that to me again, that's it, no more. Then you have to follow through with that consequence, because when we don't follow through with our consequence, especially if we told somebody that that's going to happen, all we teach that person is that they can treat us that way and they can get away with it. And they are just learning that we say no, they come at us and they step over our no. So we say no again and they come at us and we step over our no. And unfortunately, there's people in life that we say no and they come at us and we let them step over that no, and then they come at us again and we say, I've got to let you go. I'm sorry, but this just isn't working for me. I have got to let you go. You go and do you, I will go and do me. We have to have the courage and the strength and the willpower and the drive and the determination to say no to those people who don't respect us for who we are, those people who let us down, those people who hurt us time and time again, those people who fall silent on us because they're not willing to communicate with us, those people who are committed to misunderstanding everything we say, those people who are committed to using our vulnerabilities and weaknesses against us. We have to have the courage and the ability to say no to that person, to step away from their games, to allow them to go and live their life while we go and live ours. If something doesn't feel right to you, it's not right. We have to listen to our feelings. And one thing I will say is never ever tell a narcissist, you made me feel. that then gives them the power to use that feeling against you. You can say to them, I'm feeling, and if they're going to use that feeling against you, you haven't given them the power there because you've said, I'm feeling. When you tell them, you've made me feel, they then feel powerful to control and play and toy with your emotions. When you say, I am feeling, do they have the empathy to understand how you are feeling and in some way sympathise with you and help or support you as a person as you would them? Or are they simply not interested? We cannot be held responsible for how another person makes us feel. We do have to hold ourselves responsible for how we are feeling, and we are the ones that have to take action on our feelings. If somebody is willing to support us with our feelings, that's great, as we'd be willing to support other people. If someone is unwilling to support us, that's when we have to support ourselves. We have to recognise those emotions and what those emotions are teaching us. Thoughts aren't necessarily facts. So we can have a thought and we can act on that thought, or we can recognise that, yes, I know that thought's there, but I really don't feel like that would be in my best interest. Therefore, I'm going to leave that thought there, and what can I do instead? Oh, I can do this. I'm going to try this method and see whether this works first. And this isn't with other people. This is with who you are as a person. We are not here to change other people. We can only work on changing ourselves. So if something doesn't feel right, it needs to be a no. And it's not easy at first. It is difficult at first. And when you're wanting to communicate with someone, when you're wanting to show understanding and compassion with somebody, it's difficult to say no. Recognise if they're willing to show that understanding and compassion to you. If they're not, don't feel bad for saying no to somebody who's happily going to say no to you. It is hard to begin with, but we have to start saying no to toxic people, no to those who let us down, no to those who aren't there for us when we are there for them, no to people that aren't loyal to us, no to people who don't respect us for who we are, no to things that we don't believe in, no to things that is going to be detrimental to our emotional health, no to people pleasing, no to fitting in, no to giving up. No matter how hard it is to say no, if in the long run saying yes is going to hurt us in some way, we need to take the short-term pain of saying no so that we can have that long-term gain of knowing we stuck to our authentic selves. And sometimes with some people, no is the complete sentence. No is no. I shall add the video in the description that explains more about how narcissistic people actually take down our boundaries, and some different methods in there to how to reclaim your own boundaries, because your boundaries are personal to who you are as a person. If anyone has any advice on what helps them step away from the narcissist games and find it easier to start saying no to people, please do drop that in the comments, as you never know who's reading it, that it might help. Thank you very much for listening, and today If you're not sure who you are as a person, start looking into your beliefs, start looking into your values, start looking into what you are passionate about, start looking into the things that make you happy, that make you want to get out of bed in the morning. Because even the most happiest of people in the world can struggle to get out of bed in the morning, but when they have a passion, they've got something to give them the drive to motivate themselves to keep going. So get out there and create the day you deserve. Yes, it can be hard. It is worth it. Have a great day. Bye.